Hello, welcome to Voice in Latin America. I hope you are all having a great time in VOICE22. Today we'll be talking about the voice market here, especially in Brazil. I hope you enjoy the presentation. My name is João Paulo. I live in São Paulo, Brazil. By the way, São Paulo is alongside Mexico City the most populated city in Latin America, with more than 20 million inhabitants. I have been developing for voice since the arrival of Alexa in Brazil, which means 3 years ago in October 2019. Since I can remember, I have been always curious about technology, and the prospect to work with a new and emerging type of interface caught me from the beginning. I started working as a solo freelancer developer in Fiverr and had the opportunity to quickly work with a great number of projects in many countries. This work got to the point where I felt confident enough to go from freelancer to agency owner and have since had the opportunity to grow my business and deliver more than 150 voice projects. During this period, I had the honor to be recognized by the community I dedicated myself to and earned 2 titles. I have been made Alexa Champion and a Voice Flow here, both last year. Working with voice has been quite an enjoyable ride because everyone in this business are approachable and welcoming. As a fan of Star Wars, Jurassic Park, and video games, it's surreal that I got to work with all of these in my first 3 years in voice. I am a father of 3 boys that till this day have trouble to identify if their father is playing or working, but I guess that's what's happened when you work with something you love. Now let's talk about some statistics for voice in Latin America. This region is comprised of 20 countries, of which in only one you have Portuguese speakers, that is Brazil. In all other countries, the main language is Spanish. In this region, most of the speakers access voice or chat experiences through their mobile phones. 70% is the rate of population that have access to it. 51% of the smartphone users use voice assistants on a weekly basis to perform a series of activities, but mainly searching for business information, get directions, and talk to someone using a voice message. In Latin America, voice searches are 46% higher than in the rest of the world. Latin America has been a top market for WhatsApp, which has been choosing this region to launch some of its most important features. Brazil was the first region to implement WhatsApp Pay, for example. The penetration of WhatsApp here is 94% of mobile users, with 90% sending voice messages every day. Here are some statistics for Brazil. We have more than 230 million mobile devices. This is more than one per habitant. The penetration is about 81% of the population. The market is mainly comprised of Android phones with more than 82% share. Android devices comes natively with Google Assistant, and it can perform a lot of functions with its first-party functionalities. WhatsApp has an almost 100% penetration among mobile users, and consumer behavior is pointed, especially before the global pandemic, towards voice or chat interaction with brands. All the major companies have chat channels, and some of them are starting to implement voice channels. Speaking more specifically about Alexa, there are today 1,200 developers here as opposed to 22,000 in US. The devices are in somewhere around 5 million against 50 million in the United States. Third-party SKUs, which are voice apps that are not made by Amazon, are 2,600 here against 176,000 in the United States. We measured from our data that there is a growth of 100% with Alexa here in the last 12 months in number of active users. Below, it's a timeline of voice in Brazil. The first one to come was Siri in 2015, followed by Google Assistant. Alexa was the last of the major players to arrive. It's estimated that in 2025, 25% of homes in Brazil will have a voice assistant. I have put that smart lamp logo there for a reason. It illustrates the fast pace of the market. This lamp used to retail for $20 when voice assistants were first introduced, and now the price is less than a half, at $9. As you can expect, with that growth in popularity, voice assistants are all over the news and being the top retail and sought-after item in all retail dates in Brazil. It's impossible to walk in a shopping or watch YouTube without being impacted by the advertisement of connected homes or voice assistants. Some of the brands that I had the opportunity to develop voice applications for are well-known and established names. In each project, we have the opportunity to bring the client close to the brand and establish a new and significant connection. To wrap up the numbers, we have 230 million mobile phones, with almost half of the users using voice assistant weekly. 90% are sending voice messages every day, and two-thirds are listening to music. 82% are searching using voice, and 71% of the smart speakers are powered by Alexa. Now I want to talk about the demographics for the Alexa user base here in Brazil. So we have a pretty shared ownership of devices between males and females. And regarding the age, the vast majority of owners are less than 44 years old, with the group with more access to voice assistant between 25 and 34-year-olds. Families are the most common users of voice assistant, families of 3 or more people or 4 or more people. And there is a surprisingly great amount of people that own voice assistants living in a small town or a rural area with 22%. Regarding habits, Alexa users tend to be more focused towards music listeners, being the majority user group, followed by tech in general. What is more surprising in this analysis is that gamers are among the most interested in voice assistant, as they account for only 40% of general users, but 62% when talking about Alexa users in Brazil. The market potential is clear. If you look at native speakers for each one of the 3 main languages in Alexa, Portuguese, Spanish, and English, there is a potential for Portuguese voice apps to grow up 45 times until they reach the same quantity of English skills related to the native speaking population, of course. We forecast that for Spanish voice apps, the potential for growth is around 15 times. Well, I'm glad that you survived this part of the presentation where I brought the numbers. I promise that from now on, we're only going to talk about the fun cases and projects that have been involved here in Brazil. I hope you enjoy. Well, I can think of anyone that are not crazy about dinosaurs. I'm just one more grown-up kid that got completely taken by how great Jurassic Park was in '93. Since then, I have been a fan. Last year, we were approached by Universal. They needed something to keep fans connected with their franchise, while the last movie was still 1 year from being released. Together, we created a quiz game where users all ages could test their knowledge across different dinosaur species. The game had original sound score created for it, original special effects, and unlockables. It was a great success and got to the top skills in Brazil in the second semester of 2021. Recently, we have re-released the game to include content from Jurassic World Dominion and Camp Cretaceous. The game got huge media coverage and generated earned media for Universal, with more than 130,000 Alexa devices activated and 500,000 questions answered. Likewise, for gamers, Sonic is among the top-known video game heroes of our generation. Paramount approached us to create an experience to follow up their movie release. We created a game using Sonic's voice actor in Brazil, where kids could count rings, collect and interact with the Blue Hedgehog in more than 100 dialogues. The game was a huge success with close to 1 million conversations in just 3 months. Media outlets and YouTubers covered the game, giving it a huge outreach for the campaign. For Rock in Rio, the world's largest rock festival with more than 500,000 fans in attendance, we created a skill to inform users about the festival's frequently asked questions, and a quiz game around the festival history and past editions. The skill helped drive more than 40,000 questions from users, and it was a great success. BMW wanted to market their first electric car in Brazil. The car also comes with Alexa, which made total sense to create the campaign directly at Alexa devices. Users could drive the new BMW and get forecast updates based on the actual weather. The sound design for the Sonic test drive were recorded in BMW's offices in Munich. Record TV is the second largest TV network in Brazil. They wanted to distribute their content in the emerging voice assistant platform. We published 24 of their podcast shows in Alexa and developed voice games tied in to their TV shows. For Children's Day, Disney wanted to create an experience that would allow kids to interact with their favorite characters. The agency created 3 stories based around Mickey and Friends, Frozen, and Star Wars, and created a choose-your-own-adventure game with more than 500,000 interactions. Here are some of my brightest peers. They all exceeded in their fields, and they are doing a great job spearheading the field of voice in Brazil. Daniel have worked with top companies to deliver voice campaigns and launched amazing games for voice. Caio is the community manager for one of the largest communities that discuss voice in Brazil, and Janaína is a top leader for voice user interface designers, and also community manager for VOI Brazil. I encourage all of you to reach out to them to talk about voice. Well, I hope you enjoyed this presentation and had the opportunity to know a little bit more about Latin America and Brazil especially. I'll be glad to get in touch with every one of you, so please find me on LinkedIn or Calendly and let's meet. Thank you.